I intend to keep this short, but in my last upload I missed a point that I was trying to make that is actually quite profound, and I digressed off of a sub-vein of thought and didn't find my way back. So let me pose this to you. And you really need to think about this. Sit with it. Sit with this. The plant kingdom is the plant kingdom. It can be no more than it is, from that context that I was suggesting, with its genetics. The animal kingdom is the animal kingdom. The avian kingdom, birds and shit, that all of that stuff, they are what they are. And I mean, on a lot of levels, when you think about it, they can never be any more than they were designed to be in that context. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that does. But you, human, hue, the hue of man, the color, hue as in color. We have brown, black, red, yellow, tan ones, yada, yada, yada. We have brown hair, blonde hair, black hair. We have all these colors. We have blue eyes, green eyes, hazel eyes, brown eyes, and whatever color in between there, because there's an interesting, there's the hue of man. Anyway, the thing with man is you have the potential to be more in ways that you have to step into those upper four chakras to truly begin to see and embrace. This is the journey of man. You have within you, as emphasized by the Delphic Oracle, the treasure of treasures. You have the capacity to become more. I'm not saying right now in this context, transitioning into a god. No, that's not, but that could possibly be part of it. I don't know. In the context that I'm saying now, the lower three chakras, man-animal, versus the upper four chakras, or fully engaged 7 chakras, balanced being that's kind of living from those upper 4. You have that choice. A plant doesn't. An animal doesn't. Fish doesn't. What will you do with what you were given? I don't give a fuck if this is a matrix. I don't give a fuck if this is Yaldabaoth's realm and it's a big cube and a big spider. I don't give a fuck if it's a simulation and we're 3 simulations deep. The path out of all of that craziness might lie in understanding some of these key principles. There may be an evolutionary track for a spirit aspect of us through the journey. I don't know. You'd like to think, but there's a lot of insidious shit going on here. And we have the cycle of samsara that kind of, well, it makes you question a whole lot of shit now, don't you? Wiped and put in blank and programmable. So if you don't figure it out to whatever degree you can in this existence, well, how much of this do you think you'll take with you if you're recycled back in? You know, I think we stand more of a chance taking some of this with us when we die and being able to negate, potentially negate if it's possible, the reincarnation trap. There may be no negating that. And the truth is, I'm speculating here, that you have to fucking evolve your way out. I'm just speculating. I'm telling you again, nobody gave me the scepter of fucking truth. So I don't know. You have to be the judge. You have to figure out what's true. You have to figure it out. Some of us are out here doing some of the fucking heavy lifting for you and putting together a synthesis by way of a theory or a hypothesis for you to then look at and consider and see what the hell you can make of it. I hate to say this because it's one of these fucking wokeism things they've said, but there is a level of truth in it, at least in the way that I'm trying to deliver this. We are kind of all in this shit together. And if those who have come before us, or those who came with us, that figured things out, don't share it with others, that can then use what they know, what they see, and figure shit out, then we're all going to stay trapped in this fucking place, going through this fucking cycle after cycle after cycle. I think at some point, the recycling process will stop. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe if it is the great divine in the sky, that they're just going to keep recycling you until they clean you off, and then they'll bring you back. And if it takes a gajillion years, they'll just keep doing it ad nauseum, ad infinitum. I highly doubt that. If this Anunnaki thing holds true, these resets are possibly part of their process of gleaning the best of each generation from reset to reset. I don't know, who the fuck knows. Again, I'm highly speculative with this. I'm acknowledging that. I'm not saying that this is rooted in reality completely, but when you step back and look at what the fuck this reality is, what's being done to us, and start realizing that tied to all this lower base level human stuff, the ways that this beast system entraps us, through all of the vices, through all of our weaknesses, through all of the non-physical components of us that we don't know about, realize, and take any time to really develop. Thusly, they've built the entire beast system to go after all of that shit. So with the point being, plants are what they are. Animals are what they are. Birds, all that stuff, they are what they are. Orca, whale, beautiful creatures, they are what they are. I don't know that they have a quote-unquote path of choice to evolve in any specific way as a consciousness. Think about it, human. This is where you start getting into what are the treasures of treasures. Why is there so much resistance coming towards man? They're going to make you fucking work for it. And you certainly have to show an interest. You certainly have to put forth an effort. In whatever ways it may be, you have to, quote unquote, prove yourself worthy. There's things you have to do. I'm speculating here. And as I look at the clock, I see 11:11. That happens to me so much, it's not even funny. It's like the Matrix is talking to me, and I don't even take stock in this shit anymore. You can get fucking lost in gematria and trying to figure out the meanings of shit and drive yourself fucking crazy. Oh, whatever. Anyway, like I said, I'm just some philosophical guy that's been through his own hell, tearing apart the layers of it, analyzing, looking, thinking, contemplating, ruminating, bringing to bear what it is that I can. I've put in work to come to some of this stuff that some of you won't have to. You know, it's like some of these realizations are the things I wish my mommy and daddy would have taught me when I was a little one, so I knew what this world was like as I grew older, but it didn't work out that way for me. So there's just a big part of me that, for whoever the fuck it is that hears this shit, even if you're one of my trolls, what are you going to do with what the fuck you were given? Are you even going to do any research into what you were given and what you may be able to do with it? Are you going to go further? I mean, in the concept that something above us, that created us, that made all this, might be, I mean, does it not fit? Does it not give you a moment to be like, huh? And look at all the dick-driven man animals. And when I say man, it's a general term for the species. Woman, man, and women are driven, like I said, driven for the dick the way men are driven by the dick. It's a very real condition to be in. And when you look at, I mean, think of how and why they're doing all this hypersexualization. Why they put so much porn and eye candies and titty and stripper women in stripper-like clothes. And they just walk around, look at me, look how pretty I am. So they're clearly in their lower. Boys are men tripping over their dicks for them. If something that is much higher than us in evolutionary state, if you will, is looking at us, do you not think that they're going to make massive judgments in those who are transcending that animalistic shit? And again, it's not to insinuate you're never going to make love to your wife and that making love to your wife and having sex is an animal thing. Because when you do it from a different plane of consciousness and existence, it's different. There's different energies that are produced. Different things come of it. It's just different. Think about it. I mean, think of the two people that I've talked about that are at a higher level of chakral and energetic and consciousness. They've done their inner work. They're healing. They come together in love. They bring an element of spirit into it as well. Yada, yada, yada. All in a health. Versus the two fucking monkeys that are humping because they met each other in the bar. His package is bulging. Must be a fat Johnson. Her titties are just busting out of there. Oh boy, those are going to be fun. And those two drunken idiots go home and start doing the bangity bangity. What if she gets pregnant and decides, oh, I'm going to have a kid? What do you think the energy in that kid is? What do you think if those two people who were out drinking to numb their own issues inside, lots of fucked up energy, they don't realize the metaphysics. When you look at humans that are just driven by that state of being and consciousness, how much respect do you think something higher than us is going to have for us? They're just going to keep producing the environment to keep those herd animals on the fucking farm. You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to see this experience from these perspectives in order to make proper choices. Strangely enough, now it's 11:22. Master numbers. I constantly do this. It's every time. It's weird. I can be sitting at the computer or sitting at my desk. I'm in a hotel room. It's got a desk built into the wall. And just be sitting there. And for some reason, my mind says, what time is it? And I'll look at the clock. It's 11:11. It's 11:22. It's 11:33. It's fucking 12:12. It's 10:10. It's like, what the fuck? Who the fuck knows? And like I said, you can drive yourself crazy with gematria trying to figure it out. But I digress. The point is, there's more to this existence than meets the eye. And what you get on what comes next may very well be predicated on the knowledge, the understanding, the work you've done on yourself in this reality to make whatever choices will be presented. That kind of shit. If you stay somebody that stays home, that doesn't develop themselves, that doesn't have a keenness of mind, discernment, an understanding of yourself from the gut to the heart, to the two languages of the mind, the way all of that works. If you haven't developed yourself to be able to navigate this reality and be a discernment machine and all kinds of other things, we may not have, quote unquote, proved ourselves worthy. I know what that sounds like. I get it. It's just a perspective. There's another mindset that says, fuck these gods. We're individuated sovereign units of consciousness that aren't beholden to any god, and they've just got us trapped in their system. I get it. I could be the guy making those fucking condemning arguments for all of this shit. But I try to be as authentic as I can, and when I tell you I do cartwheels around subject matters, I do cartwheels around subject matters, trying to see it from every perspective I can. Because without understanding the other perspectives, you won't see the deceptions, you won't see where things don't make sense. When you're unaware, and there's fucking deception everywhere here. So if you don't exhaust yourself to whatever degree you can trying to figure shit out, you're never going to know. And if you don't listen to a certain degree to those of us that have done work that you haven't done, and I don't say that in a condescending or criticizing way. I would have loved to have heard shit like this when I was younger. People who've done work that I hadn't done, putting ideas and concepts in me for fucking chew on so that I can make decisions at those points in my life. Well, which direction do I want to fucking go? No, I remained a dick-driven animal until I was fucking 33. No, I didn't. I remained a dick-driven animal well into my awakening. My ex-girlfriend, Stephanie, if I wasn't a dick-driven animal, we would have never been an item. I fully see that. Very much so. It is what it is. And I tell you, a basis from which I can say these things, talk about these things, the hideous nature of our condition is because I have suffered from some of these conditions. I have been in these conditions and got to see what those types of conditions brought to me. Then I can witness, now that I'm not there, others in those conditions and see these dumb animals. I was the same dumb animal. I'm still at a level of dumb animal that I have yet to transcend. You see what I'm saying? I'm keeping it real here, people. And as a frame of reference, it's not the end-all be-all, but it'll give you a sense. The humans that are no longer those dick-driven animals, those are the humans that are aspiring, or when you transcend that stuff, you get into the realm of the types of things where you would aspire to perhaps develop virtues. These are the things that we hear as an example are of the quote-unquote gods. Well, if we have their quote-unquote God DNA in us, then we are capable of developing and cultivating these virtues within ourselves. And when you look at what virtues are, and you consider the caliber of human that exists in a state where developing these components within yourself, these virtues, these attributes, stepping into these things, this is a higher level human being. This is a higher level being in existence. When you combine virtues and the types of behaviors that are exhibited from virtuous humans with higher levels of knowledge, with that stuff, what do you think you have? What kind of a world do you think you have? What kind of social interactions do you think you have versus the ones from the dick-driven animals? What kind of world do you want to live in? What kind of a being are you? And what will you do with what you've been given? You've been given the capacity to be more than the tree, than the animal, than the bird, than the fish. You've been given the capacity to be more. Anyway, that's probably more than most people can handle. There's got to be something wrong with me. So go ahead and tell yourself that the message is all fucked up because you're ugly, or you curse all the time, or you don't like God, or you've said you wanted to kill God, or go ahead, ad hominem attack, find a reason to find flaws in it, and never look at yourself and remain the dick-driven, low consciousness, possibly subhuman, fucking bipedal herd animal that, well, everything that runs and controls this world wants you to remain. It's your choice, Meat Sack.
This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is.